So it's Bubble Friday. We've made it. Congratulations. You've made it another 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, however you want to count your days in your week, in your work week, more or less. You've made it to an end, or you're getting close. And so we're just sort of preambling your Bubble Friday. So for Bubble Friday, I hope you enjoyed the little preamble in our production. We're trying to make this thing look more pretty, look more professional, even if I'm not. I'm going to go over a very quick explanation of what the point of this thing is, and that was pointless. I got to do a good one. I have to get a good one before we get this much better. Bubble Friday. Bubble Friday was a thing that I thought I created. Well, I created for a certain piece, but didn't necessarily create Bubble Friday as a concept. It was a concept we made at a former employer where we were just having a really, really rough time going through some stuff. And to celebrate just kind of getting through the week, the simplest, cheapest, and oddly enough, the turned out to be the easiest way to get engagement was just go out in the break area where the people smoked out in this porch of the building and just blow bubbles and just say ooh, and it was a bunch of adults blowing bubbles and making goofy faces and giggling, and it was pretty silly, but it worked. It worked for the time. It was a simple solution to a fairly simple problem. We were stressed out. We needed a release. We needed to be something that could be done in quick and easy bursts, and anybody on their break can go out there, blow some bubbles, and go back to work. So Bubble Friday has come to mean essentially surviving your work week, getting to the last point of your working period, and blowing out the stress, blowing out the strife, blowing out all the pains and struggles you went through, and just relaxing. So I offer up a chance to blow bubbles with me, or either live or in the future as these things live on the social media things. I offer you chances, not necessarily blow anything out in real life, just sort of mentally release that energy, release that steam out there. And for that, so that's what Bubble Friday is all about. One more blast of bubbles in general, or a short blast, but let's just get a good one before I keep going. Right at the camera. Let's do this. There we go. So what Bubble Friday has turned into, for when I get a chance to turn on the camera, is a chance to speak to whoever is listening, whether live or in the future. Pardon me, looking at all these controls to kind of deal with for the live stream. It's a chance to kind of literally just kind of say what's on my mind, say how I feel, kind of give out some stuff. Most of it is on the upstream. Most of it is meant to be positive. Some of it is kind of griping in general, because people need to gripe sometimes. But the chatty part about this, why it takes more than 3 minutes to blow bubbles on the screen, is one, engagement, and two, there's something that probably somebody needs to hear. And with the week we've had last week, I explained my last week on Monday. I went live just to hype up the Welcome to Your Monday message about having a personal friend from high school die. There were actually a couple other famous people dead that weren't included in the kind of why it was a big week for me, but it was a personal friend from high school. It was an NBA player who basically defined my youth and childhood back in those days. It was Cliff Robinson from the Portland Trailblazers, who were masterful. You're thinking guys like Jimmy Butler and Giannis right now, as they are major stars in similar orbits to LeBron James as a main star. Basically, all of the Trailblazers, all of the Houston Rockets, all the Knicks, all the Pacers were basically those trailing stars to Michael Jordan today. So while Michael Jordan was tearing up and basically, destroying folks because he could, Cliff Robinson was on a team with Kyle Drexler and some other great players of the Portland Trailblazers, and basically made the shift to people kind of seeing other stuff. In fact, Bulls versus Blazers was the very first video game for any home console that actually had NBA teams established on it. So look that up. Before there was 2K, before there was EA Sports, and they did their stuff. Bulls versus Blazers, and the playoffs was essentially, because that's the year the Bulls took on the Blazers, and of course the Blazers lost because they played the Bulls. So that's there. And of course, Chadwick Boseman, who overtook essentially the entire week since his passing, with the shocking news that he had been suffering from cancer for 4 years. He diagnosed 4 years ago, and been doing this in silent. He taped, he filmed Black Panther, 40 Bridges, Avengers, Endgame, Marshall, the James Brown story. He filmed all these great movies, played these iconic roles, and played these other roles that just seemed to be there. And just all around good guy, while suffering through cancer. And I can say suffer through from secondhand knowledge, because my wife, who also this week had her 3-year cancer-free anniversary, suffered through it physically. And I can tell you the family suffered through it as well, as we were there to support her. It was no joke. Cancer sucks 3 billion times. You can't say that enough. So I went over that part of the week, and then the actual week began, and it became just a stressful week, just because life is stressful and work is stressful. And I work at a college, a small 2-year private university that is having its issues with having students show up for classes because there's COVID-19. So we did extra precautions for in-house classes, and we offered up a big litany of online classes. And there's a lot of confusion because everything is brand new and none of it makes any sense, not even to us in a sense. We know we have to do it. It just isn't quite, because we didn't have time to prepare for it, like most of the COVID-19 things we've had. It is what it is. So for me, on a personal note, there was a lot of, I'd say, suffering. There was a lot of just kind of stressful stuff that went on through the week that piled on. And I have long days where I do extra things, and there's frustrations with other projects that are getting put aside because I'm busy here, or something COVID-like that makes something else fall apart. And so there's a lot of things going on, a lot of people going through stuff. And the basic part of Monday's message was the fact that there are people going through things that you don't know, that you may not understand, or maybe you might understand, but it's not necessarily your business to be buttoned into it. If they share it with you, be as accommodating as possible. But if they're just sort of having a bad day, have a little extra grace. But we've been on that kick for about 6 months with COVID-19. There have been a lot of things that have been frustrating, a lot of things that have been put off, a lot of things set aside that normally would not make me a big deal. But because we don't know who's carrying the disease, and we're all wearing these masks, and we're all trying to be extra safe, and some people can't leave their houses for fear of getting sick, and can't leave their houses because they have no place to go for work, and can't leave their houses because they're afraid if they leave their house, they'll be evicted because of other areas. We are at a point where grace is sort of getting about to be tapped out. And there's a term for that. It's not grace fatigue, but it's essentially what it is. It's fatigue of being nice, fatigue of being accommodating, just being tired of having to put up with stuff. On a grander scale, some of the social unrest we're seeing in some of the marches and the protests is because of fatigue of having to just kind of lean back and just keep your head down, and not seem like you're trying to be uppity, and not seem like you're trying to step onto something. That's from fatigue from various people who feel they have been held back and oppressed for a while. So think about that if you want to have that argument. However, there is a general fatigue right now that we all are suffering. And then we may have our minor ones, but there's general fatigue we're all suffering because we are about 6 months into coronavirus antics, and we don't have an end in sight. This is not where I'm going to kind of complain about the current administration's push to do this and that, or the wannabe administration's pushes to do other things in general. But this is looking forward, because all you can do is look forward. Looking back doesn't do anything for anybody. Looking forward, you just got to hold on a little bit longer, because the alternative is to let go. Think of this as the typical situation of you are in the middle of the ocean, your ship is sinking, and you are treading water. The point of treading water, not swimming as hard as you can in the direction of what you think land is to conserve energy for someone to come and find you. Now, yes, there are situations where no one may know you're out there, and then it'll take them longer to find you. But if someone is on their way to save you, to help you out and support you, you don't have to swim as hard as you can with as much force as possible to get closer to them. You just need to keep your head above water. You just need to keep yourself visible. You just need to stay where you are as safe as possible from the elements, so that when someone gets to you, you can be rescued. And right now, a lot of us are in that position. We are literally not in a position to rescue someone else. We need some intervention to come in to move forward. There's not a problem with that. That is life. That's just how things are. You may be struggling with financial issues. A lot of people are struggling with financial issues right now. And some people are as employed, overemployed, underemployed as they were before, but situations change. You may have to take on more of a burden for taking care of someone else because they can't take care of themselves. You may be like, I'm actually lucky situation where I'm actually doing a little bit better financially. And so at this moment, I'm weighing the options of trying to have a little bit of fun for a change versus trying to pay off a lot of those things I've dug myself into, to trying to make good steps going forward so that I can invest a little bit to help me do better going further. Because while I'm doing great now, I might not be doing great so far. So how much do I save and invest to use for later? How much do I splurge because I deserve a break? How much do I just throw out there just to keep even? That's what I'm dealing with personally. You may be dealing with something a bit more serious on financial issues. You may be dealing with more serious with personal issues and people. You may have had people come into your life all of a sudden that weren't there for a while, that are stressing you out, or maybe making you happy, but eventually will sort of stress you out. There may be people who have left your life recently, and that's causing issues as well. And of course, there's the fact that we can't all just go to a ball game. Some of us can in limited situations. We can't just go to a ball game. We can't just go to a concert. Fairly soon, we can go to movie theaters, but we can't all go because whatever capacity they had before, yes, they took that capacity down when it went to the mega seating couch type stuff, but there's even less capacity right now. Our freedoms in a world stage, and our freedoms here in America, where we sometimes tend to take them for granted, are being limited for good reasons, for safety, for just not knowing what it is we're dealing with. And there's a lot of people pissed off about it, a lot of people stressed out about it. And they're very simple things. It's politicized. It's even more politicized about going to church service, because churches and congregations tend to pack a lot of people. There's a lot of hugging and touching and handshaking and stuff like that. And because we have a illness that's spread by people hugging, touching, and being real close, large church services are becoming super spreaders of the coronavirus. So large church services are shut down. People are doing things online through Zoom. It's really weird, and things like that. You can't go to a ball game. You can't go sit by a friend. You can't go just have a beer at the bar and just chat it up. It's a lot of things that are just not working right now. But you have to hang on just a little bit longer. This is treading water. The good news about this is there's somebody out there searching for you. This is not a case where no one expected your shit to be out in the middle of nowhere and it went down, so no one knows there's someone to look for, and you're just hoping that some random ship comes by that you can get their attention. This is a case of life where there is something out there, there's someone out there, there's an entity ready to take over and fix things. The world is working on a vaccine. The world is working on better accommodations and better guidelines to get through this thing. The world is working on ways to find some relief to people in pain, whether it's the pain and suffering of not having a job, or pain and suffering of feeling isolated, pain and suffering of feeling like they don't have control and can't do anything they want to. And right now, there's a lot of pain and suffering of people who thought this would be their year to go off and do something amazing, and they can't, because they can't leave the house. They can't gather crowds. They can't congregate with folks. They can't sit in a bar and have a beer and have a chat with somebody who might be the influential person to get things going. They have to do it in different ways. It's not working. All I am saying for you for today is tread water. You're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there sooner or later. Hopefully sooner, maybe later. We're going to get there. Tread water. Keep maintaining what you have going on. And when you see that recovery ship, that's when you start making their mad dash and shooting flares and doing signs and do what you can to get their attention, because they're on their way. Someone is coming. You're going to be saved. You just need a little bit more time for them to get there. That's it. So keep treading water. Keep working through the struggle. Keep pushing forward, forward, forward. Keep on keeping on. And if it gets to a point where you feel like, hey, I just need to blow off some steam, I need to talk to somebody, I need to just do whatever. If you have found me via these platforms on social media or YouTube or whatever, here's your open invitation. Shoot me a message, shoot me a text, give me a call. We'll make some time. We will chat. Trust me, I chat with basically anybody who calls my phone. We'll talk for 4 or 5 minutes on whatever. Just reach out. If you need something, I'll do what I can. I might be the lifeline to pull you out of the water. I might be the messenger to send someone to you. You never really know. If you really, really, really are in struggle, or if you just sort of just want to chat, go for it. In the meantime, thank you so much for being a part of this little video. Thanks for popping up either live, thank you for that, or in the future as this thing lives throughout the day on your Bubble Friday. Don't forget it's Bubble Friday, because some people didn't get the chance to wake up this morning. Some people literally did not open their eyes and get out of bed for this day, the 4th of September. And some people woke up and didn't have the energy, did not have the power to get out of bed, press a button on the phone, go to their computer, get out and walk out the door and do something. They did not have the physical energy to move forward. Like I said, there's a lot of us dealing with a lot of things right now, and that treading water thing gets a little old. But if you're stuck in the middle of the ocean, you have two choices: keep your head above water, or let your head go below water. And when your head goes below, once you're under the sea level, your options get really, really, really limited at that point in time. So you only have one option: keep treading water, keep your head up, keep fighting, keep waiting. It's a hard lesson to have, a hard thing to say, but we're almost there. So congratulations to those folks who got up this morning. You have the energy and the possibility to do stuff. If you have the capacity to pull someone out of the water today, go do it, because it would be awesome. If you don't have that capacity, keep on treading. That's just as awesome. Do what you can do today to help those out today and for the future todays, which are tomorrows. Don't focus too much on tomorrows. Use those as planning points to shoot for. Put your focus on today. Happy Bubble Friday. Congratulations for making it through the week. And this may not be the most enlightening or encouraging message we've had lately, but guess what? I got up. I did it. It exists. Thank you very much. We will check you guys out later on in the future. And like I said, put something to message in the comments. Let me know if you watch this in the future so I can, say hey to you as well. And if you need someone to chat with, reach out. I'm here somewhere. we'll find time. Thanks.